So welcome back to the Guild's podcast. Today we're going to get into some very deep territory, and that's going to be the subject of, well, my shirts. For 10, 15 years, they've been a bit of a bone of contention with some people, and I've never understood that. But I've had a myriad of different questions being asked about, well, my shirts. So we thought, let's just dive deep on why I wear so many crazy colored shirts.
All right, so something I've always been meaning to ask you is also something I've been very afraid to know the answer of. What is it exactly with you in these loud patterns, flamboyant shirts, vibrant colors? Like, what's the deal?
You know, I've thought about that myself, and there's a couple of solutions to that. I was a professional artist for 17, 18 years, and of course, it was all about color. But I had a bit of an epiphany a little while ago, and that was what I was watching a documentary on the 60s, and I looked at that, and it was like going home. And everybody's wearing flamboyant colored clothing and all the signs and everything in brilliant colors, and people were painting their cars up psychedelic. And I sort of thought, well, yeah, I used to run a light show, doing, the brilliant colors behind a rock band. And my whole life then was involved in color, and all the clothing that I wore was very colorful. And then we all sort of got muted over time after that. But I've always enjoyed it. And I've never actually understood why people just want silver and white cars, where I like cars are all different colors and everything. And that's, and Janice does as well. But there's sort of an also fundamental thing. When I was a kid growing up in the 50s, there was colorful cars. They just started. They'd gone from like black or navy blue to being, pink and red, and people were getting a little more sort of loosened up there. And designs in homes were becoming more flamboyant. People's furniture was getting flamboyant, and they were starting to, put brightly colored their curtains up, and turquoise and pink and all that became to the fore. So I think that's sort of the roots of it, and I just enjoy being surrounded with color. And it's not just, our house has always been fairly flamboyantly done, and I mean, not tacky flamboyant, but I like color. It's like, do you look at a garden? I don't like a garden that's just a green lawn and some green shrubs. I like lots of flowers in a garden and that kind of thing. So, but I think, fundamentally it's my roots, the roots in the psychedelic period of the 60s.
As much as that's interesting, I'm also curious to know the reception that you get from people, whether it be online or in person. What has that been like for you with the loud shirts?
Well, I have had detractors, people who've, texted or, but it's generally, online stuff. But very, very few of them. I get lots of people asking where I get them from and how I found them and why do I have so many and all that kind of thing. But there's been a few times when there's been a little bit of negativity. But on the whole, people are, very accepting. As a matter of fact, it gets to the point where if I'm wearing something that's a little drabber, I get asked, well, what's wrong? Why are you not wearing a really flamboyant shirt? Well, I am, out shoveling crap on the farm today. I don't generally dress in Robert Graham shirts when I'm out, cleaning up manure from the horses. So
I think that's understandable.
Yeah,
I remember even before I started working here and doing like videos and stuff with you, I was watching that video of you and Jay Leno, and you were talking about the Aerolithe. Mm-hmm. And I remember seeing a lot of comments on that video. That one in particular just sticks out in my head about your loud shirts.
Yeah, I don't understand why people were upset about that shirt, because we were talking about it. But there was a few negative comments, but I mean, mostly about the hamburgers on the shirt is what I recall. People were a little, confused that I was wearing a shirt and visiting Jay Leno, who wears nothing but denim now, in a shirt that had hamburgers on it. I didn't understand the confusion. I hadn't really noticed that they were hamburgers, to tell you the honest truth.
And people were offended by this shirt?
Yeah, funnily enough, some people were that, I had the nerve to wear a shirt like that. Okay. It's like, when I had long hair, that was bad. And when I have short hair, that's bad. And it's anything out of the norm. And people like to, more online than anywhere else, sort of pick at you a little bit and troll you a bit. But I mean, honestly, when I sort of enjoy the trolling more than, people say, oh, yeah, you're just great. I think that's that's very nice of people to say. But when they're trolling me, some of it's just really funny. I remember one guy saying, once texting, or not texting, but sending an email or to a website that was up about it, and said I was an arrogant toupee wearing doofus. To which I replied to him, and he didn't expect it, it's not a toupee.
Seeing as though you're just an arrogant doofus, then, what is the most negative, reception you've ever received on your shirts or patterns, style?
I was in England, and we were meeting with Peter Phillips, who is the Queen's grandson. And he was actually going to take us of a tour, Keith and me, on a tour of the garages at Buckingham Palace the next day. But we were meeting him for a little get-together and a chat, and then going out to dinner. And when I got in the cab, Keith got in the other side, and he looked at me wearing this shirt that had like a lozenge bunch of colors to it. And he looked at me and said, "You can't wear that to meet a member of the royal family." And I said, "Why not?" And he says, "Because that's just, awful." And he just went off the rails about it. So I finally said, "Well, I don't have anything else I can wear right now." So we ended up going to Savile Row, which is the famous street with all the tailors on it and everything. And while he sat with a nice glass of whiskey, I was shown shirt after shirt after shirt. They were all white. They were all virtually identical with tiny little details, and they point out, oh, this detail and that, look at this button is completely different from the button on that one. Mm. And in the end, there was one that was a pale, pale pink. It was so pale pink, you really couldn't tell it was pink unless you put it next to pure white. And I went, okay, I'll take that one, because you couldn't see the buttons on that one. It was 300 pounds for that shirt, right? I didn't have to pay for it, right? So anyway, we went off to meet with Peter Phillips, who was a really, really nice guy. And but what Keith didn't know is I had the shirt with me in a bag. And I pulled the shirt out and it said, "Peter, what do you think of this shirt?" Keith told me I couldn't wear it to a meeting with you. Right? And Keith was completely horrified. And Peter just looked at me with this big smile and he says, "That would get you kicked out of a rave."
I just find it the funniest that you couldn't let it go. You were like seething with this pink shirt on, and you're just looking at your shirt in the bag and going, "I have to say something." That kills me. Wasn't there also a time where you went to like a concours event and it was a very particular reaction to a very particular shirt?
Yeah, that happened. I was actually at the Automobile Week at Pebble Beach, and there's a whole bunch of events before the actual concours on the Sunday. And one of those is the Concours de Le Mans, which is just hilarious because people prepare the most god-awful cars and wrecked cars and the whole bit, and they're on the lawn at this Concours de Le Mans. And I try to get to it every time I go because it's just a fun time. The judges can all be bribed, and it's encouraged and all that kind of thing. It's a lot of fun. So anyway, I thought, well, I'll wear this. I got this really, really flamboyant shirt. I thought it's perfect for the Concours de Le Mans because, I mean, even for me to think something is really, really flamboyant, it's got to be really out there. So anyway, I donned this shirt and I met Larry. Well, Larry decided that day to start using a merce. So he's got this literally purse that he's carrying, right? And I've got this shirt on, and as we're walking through the crowd, I heard the guy say, "I knew those two guys were gay."
It's not a purse, it's a satchel. Do you know how many shirts you have? How many do you have?
That's a good question. I mean, I always had a lot of shirts because I look after them, and I mean, I've got shirts that are, I hate to say this, but 35 and 40 years old that I could still wear. So I've always had a lot of shirts, but when we had the TV show, I started to get shirt sponsors. So I had Robert Graham, and Robert Graham's shirts were just superb. I mean, they were beautiful things. I mean, they sent me maybe 20 or 25 of those, and I mean, they'd send them with the price tags on them, right? They were $800, $900, $1,000 for these damn shirts. I mean, they're really expensive. So we had those, and then and they were used one season, I think, and then Bugatti became a sponsor, and I think they sent me over 2 seasons 80 shirts, right? And then I also had 7 Downing Street, which had some fairly, as a matter of fact, the shirt that I was wearing with Peter Phillips, or not wearing with Peter Phillips, was a 7 Downey, shirt, the one that Keith took exception to, and I had to get a pink shirt. So, yeah, right now, if I hazard to guess, I think I could probably wear, we're not talking T-shirts or sweaters or anything, I think I could actually wear a sports or dress shirt every day of the year and never double up, never have to wear the same. So at least, maybe almost 4.
1, drop a 0.
Yeah. 300 and whatever, how many there are days in a year plus. I'll bet you, if I took them all and counted them, maybe 400.
Oh my.
Yeah, I know. It takes up a lot of space in the house. I'm thinking of downsizing
In the house,
soon.
not the closet, in the house.
Yeah, there is that. There is a large room in the house where Janice and I put most of our clothing, but then there's jackets. I have a lot of jackets. And so there's a lot of Pebble Beach jackets. I've got, every time I've gone to an event in the last 35 or 40 years, I bought a T-shirt or 2 or 3 or 4. I still got all of those. So there's hundreds. I bet you I got more T-shirts than I do sports shirts by a long shot. And I wear those a lot in the summertime, but I don't wear them to work in that very often, So, yeah, I got a lot of clothes.
So considering you have lots of T-shirts, lots of jackets, lots of sports shirts, are you done collecting? Is your collection complete?
Well, the problem with that is it's not really a collection, is it? It's like I'm a shirt hoarder. So I'd say no, judging by the fact that the algorithms all seem to know that I like shirts, so I keep on getting. And the only reason that I think, oh, that's coming straight from China, so it's probably not going to be very. I mean, there's some shirts that that if you got anywhere near an open flame, you're going to blow up. So I try to avoid, like flammable shirts on the whole. But yeah, I mean, I don't buy many shirts because I go, oh, I don't need any more shirts. But every now and then, like, yeah, I'd buy new ones.
And you just think, I need to have that one.
See, what I'm thinking is, if I start to become demented, which is imminent, then I don't have to buy any more shirts. I'll just forget about the ones I've got.
Well, Dave, I can certainly say that the day you become an outfit repeater is a day I certainly won't forget.
The day I become an outfit repeater will be a day I have forgotten.
I'm sorry. So, Dave, do you have any intentions or plans to just, start toning things down in your wardrobe?
Well, I have been. I mean, you probably noticed, that I've been, dressing fairly, well, in a fairly ordinary fashion lately. I mean, I haven't seen that I'm being too flamboyant, just blue jeans and,
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, just like.
It's just kind of your opinion.
There's not
there?
much going on with this one.
No, eh?
It's a nice shirt, but it's not over the top,
No.
right? So,
No.
I think that I'm calming down in my old age. Yep.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I'm going to calm down just before I start dribbling.
I think that's a great idea. Mm-hmm. So, Dave, thanks for talking about your shirts and everything for the last, long time. I'm Jess Kinkade, by the way. Dave did not introduce me again this week.
Well, I know who you are.
Do you?
Yeah. Well, anyway, thank you very much. I hope that's answered some of the questions from the 15 or 16 people who've put inquiries about my shirts in over the last 15 years. And, well, next time when we come back, we'll probably be talking about cars. I mean,
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
we'll see what happens. Anyway, oh, and my one-person media team has requested that I ask you to like and subscribe. And apparently there's some little bell ringy thing that you can do and a heart and like, you know, but it's helpful, I'm told. Anyway, till next time, we'll see you later.